Also, can I just say that I loved our group chat when I was like, huh? And then you got the like, what?
I love that meme. I get it every chance I can.
It was perfect because like when I looked at my phone, it was the perfect size of my screen. So it's exactly what Ryan said, my meme, your meme. And then it was just like.
And then I finally had to text because he didn't respond again. I was like, so 5:30, right? Yeah, your text didn't make any sense, but I was too afraid to say something. Then Zach said that meme. I'm like, okay.
Well, it was one of those things
I'm
where
not
like,
alone.
At first I was like, okay, he's saying maybe we should do it at 8. And then like the second half of it, I was like, I don't understand.
That's what I thought too, but I'm like, 8's too late. Like,
This is the first time I've seen all this whole thing.
really?
You didn't look at it?
Even my message. This is the first time I've seen my message.
So great.
Let's make it. I can work with that. Matt? Question mark. That he all right with you?
Does it make sense to you?
That's exactly why I was like, huh?
I didn't want to agree to it because I didn't.
It's like,
See, this is why I need to just.
What did it mean? What did you mean to say?
I'm trying to decipher it. I can do whenever, really. I can come over after I'm done, so like 5:30. Let's make it. Oh, okay. I think I know what I was trying to say. I was trying to say, let's make it 6. I can work with that. Matt, like asking, like I meant to say like, Matt, that okay with you? But instead I just put Matt and then put that he all right with you. Means like, is that all right with you?
Were you having a stroke?
well, to be honest
The
with you,
bad thing is, I must have texted it because I didn't see even like your responses. So I must have just texted this so quickly and just threw my phone down and did not look at the rest because I didn't see these memes.
That's incredible.
So 5:30, and then I respond back, let's do 6.
Let's do 6.
Without even looking at the stuff?
Yeah. Well,
Dude,
that's why I was like,
didn't look-
I guess he just responded to.
Yeah. He just
that's
ignored
great.
it. Good
Well,
for him, I guess.
The meme I thought of was the Godzilla had a stroke and died trying to read that. And like I was gonna send it, but I couldn't find it, so that's why I went with the
not
Big
very
Lebowski.
cash
I think all
money
this
of
is
you.
making it into the show. So welcome to Pop Culture Unboxing, which, by the way, last week we didn't intro it at all. So
I forgot about that meme. Save Mothra. Why did you say that name?
this is we already are starting looking at pictures.
This is so
Laughing.
good.
I'm Matt.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Zach.
Yeah, we didn't introduce ourselves last episode, so I hope people didn't get confused. I'm going to do something I haven't done in a long time. At the beginning of the show, I'm going to ask you, if you enjoy our show and enjoy listening to it and enjoy hearing us talk, which is 3 ways to say the same thing, be sure to tell your friends about it.
I've been thinking about that.
Word of mouth is great.
I've been thinking about that.
About
Do
what?
you think it would change
What?
if you put that in the beginning instead of the end? Because obviously they didn't like us if they didn't stay to the end.
I
to
guess,
hear you
but it makes
say,
me feel better to put it at the beginning. Hi, guys.
Hey,
It's snowing.
it's really snowing.
It's
It's
really
like the
snowing today.
4th day in a row that we're having a bad snowstorm.
Was it last week that we all were basically daring winter? I think I said verbatim, this is winter's last hurrah.
I literally said,
And look who's laughing now.
I said it to one of my coworkers at work today as I was leaving. I was like, because he out of the blue just like, hey, what's it supposed to do tomorrow? Look, what's the weather?
deal?
And because I'm my team, we're the weather people. So
We're
I-
the weather people.
I looked at the Doppler and everything. I was like, oh wow, it's supposedly going to snow tonight. And I was like, that's not me saying it's not, because every time I tell somebody that the weather keeps telling us it's going to snow, it's not going to snow that bad. It happens. So it's like either Mother Nature knows that I'm talking a bunch of smack, and she's like, I'm going to show you, boy. Like, I'm showing you, white boy. Well, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's what Mother Nature's doing.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I
It's
also
doing it
said,
just to spite you.
I also said from him, like, it's not going to happen. So it looks like it's probably,
So it's your fault.
it's always my fault.
Thanks,
Everything bad in the world is my fault.
That's so arrogant.
To blame everything on me?
Yeah. To think that you're that important.
Would you call Jesus arrogant?
Yeah.
Okay, well then yeah.
Well, no, because
least
he
I'm
was that
consistent.
important.
Yeah, at least you're consistent.
Well, no, that actually doesn't jive because he actually was that important.
Guys, what do you think of
Depending on who you ask.
Want to make your dad real angry? Guys, what do you think of the new office that we're doing here? The new space.
So we are sitting in Ryan's office. Straight ahead of me are 2 posters. They are stylized artwork of Iron Man and Batman. Slightly to the right of that, we
wait
have
a minute.
various...
Can you do it in like the voice of like the descriptive captions that you get on like Hulu? So instead of it's so it's like a monotone voice, and it's just like Ryan walked into a room. Around him is a bunch of bottles. Can you do that?
To the right, we have a Star Wars.
Nope. See, you have
Am
to
I putting inflection on it?
Yeah, you have to make it sound like a robot. So you said a picture of like there's a picture of Star Wars. You would just say picture of Star Wars on the wall. Or
I'm not
if you
doing it. I
want to-
changed my mind.
This is
I don't want to do
West
this bit. I'm not describing your
pictures
entire
of Star
room.
Wars on West.
There's a cool galaxy looking thing on the ceiling. That's what Ryan's talking about. There's mood lighting, yada, yada, yada.
We got stuff to
Guys,
talk about.
I already
Let's
know the
go.
answer to this. I already know the answer to this. You guys watch Super Bowl?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
How do you know?
What was the score?
Well, one team had more points than the other.
There was like the point.
Which team?
The average score of the Buccaneers was greater than the score of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, that's correct. Do you know what the numbers were?
I'm pretty sure there was a 4 in there.
Nope.
All right. Well, how about a 1?
know,
there was
was a
definitely a
1.
1, and there was a 3.
There was a 3,
All right, there it is.
So
It was 13.
but in the opposite order.
so Matt, you're distracting us
So-
from the important thing is that it's Tom Brady's team.
Yes.
It's the first.
Okay, wait.
I never thought I would live a day.
I want you guys to guess this. How many touchdowns do you think Kansas City made?
I just want to say I've never thought I'd live in a world where I could say the Buccaneers were our Super Bowl champions.
The Buccaneers aren't the Super Bowl champions. Tom Brady is.
Shut up. That's the same.
It's not really.
It is.
Kansas City.
They don't put-
How
listen,
many
they did
touchdowns
not
do you think
put
Kansas City had before they inevitably lost?
They didn't put Tom Brady's face on the hats.
How
They
many?
put the
How many
Buccaneers.
touchdowns?
I don't know.
Gosh,
Like
I think
what
they
you
had
said was
one in some
31
field goals, right?
30.
Kansas City had, or not Kansas. The Bucks had 31 points.
So at least 3.
Touchdowns?
Yes.
The Bucks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had touchdowns.
Well, that's what you asked.
How
isn't
many
it?
touchdowns did Kansas City have?
Oh,
And still
0.
lose.
Oh, probably.
Oh,
4.
it didn't matter because
4.
they were throwing flags.
They threw a lot of touchdowns. Kansas City had none.
4.
Kansas City had no touchdowns.
Or
They had
those all
9
extra points?
They were all field goal kicks.
How did they get to 13?
They
That
didn't.
sounds
they had
like
9.
that wasn't Tom
Oh, I'm
Brady.
sorry. I
man.
thought
That
you
was
said-
more the defense.
It was the defense tore it up. They did. So you were talking about before the show about, or was it you, Zach, about Antonio Brown, who
Oh, yeah.
on the Buccaneers and also won another Super Bowl, where he would get shut down by defense. It was the exact same thing for Kansas City with, why am I blanking on his name right now?
But I don't know any of their names. I don't know why you looked at me.
I hate that I'm blanking on this. I shouldn't be. He's the best Kansas City running back.
I don't know, man. You don't work for ESPN. It's high over there.
It was. I should know
Also,
this. He's
you know
so
those,
good.
You know the hosts of like ESPN and stuff. They don't know that information, right? They're reading
It's given to them.
teleprompters. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't know all the names of every player and their stats.
well,
They're
they
not
have-
crazy people.
Well, I think the thing is
They're
like,
all football players, right?
well, they have all of the information brought to them, so it's at hand. But they
No, it's on
actually
a
they actually
teleprompter.
Or
do
not
understand
running
the-
back.
Well,
Receiver.
they understand the words, but they're reading a prompter. There's no way.
Well, no,
They're all
those-
football players. Do you know how many times they got hit in the
Tyreek
head?
Hill.
There's no way.
Tyreek Hill had the exact same problem. Every play, the Bucks doubled up defense on him. He caught two passes, I think. And it doesn't help that Patrick Mahomes, who really really young player, won a Super Bowl last year. He had turf toe this time. Played through it. What a monster. But
There's a guy that played without a finger before.
What?
what?
Yeah, there's a guy.
Did he lose his finger on the
yeah,
field?
back in the day, I think somebody stepped on his finger with a cleat, and
well, back in the day, they didn't wear
it actually
pads.
split the end of his finger, and he just ripped it off and kept playing.
That's hardcore. That sounds like a hockey move.
Yeah,
Take that, rugby.
But honestly, and I know this is all gibberish to you guys. I think this is good for Mahomes because there's no question that Tom Brady is the best quarterback we've ever had.
I don't know why you thought that was gibberish. I understood every word. I
But
speak English.
I mean,
I know definitions.
but do you know football?
Enough. I played
Okay.
football for
Okay.
2 years.
Okay. I wasn't giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry. I think this loss is going to be good for Mahomes in the long run because, I mean, Tom Brady's been to 10 Super Bowls. He's only won 7 of them.
what?
I have a question.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, wait, he's won most of his Super Bowls. That's
I have a question for
That's
you.
funny.
what?
Well, for both of you. By the time Tom Brady retires, how many Super Bowls do you think he'll have under his belt?
I could see him going for another one.
I could see him at a max having 2 more.
He's got another season left.
I know he's got 1 more in him. I don't know if he has 2. So I could see a max of 2 more.
The obvious answer is it depends how much money he throws at at them.
I don't know.
You can,
but
listen,
here's the thing.
You cannot tell me that one player is the only reason a team made it to the Super Bowl.
They were the losingest team the season before.
You will never convince me for the last time. The last time I saw
Do
the
you know how
Patriots win
important
the
a quarterback is to a team?
I do, because I was a quarterback. But
Dude,
also, here's one thing. You can never tell me that the NFL is all legit, because I was there when, well, I wasn't actually at the game, but I was on a couch watching it on TV when the Patriots were about to lose a Super Bowl against the Seahawks.
I remember this. I hate this.
And somehow,
I hate this.
Somehow that they decided, instead, literally from me to you, which for the audience at home, I could punch Matt with my pinky right now. You're that close. It's like my pinky is very small.
About a yard away.
Less than a yard.
Why
away.
a yard?
And instead,
Because
of just
the play he's talking about, the Seahawks were a yard away from the end.
they were
yeah,
less
yeah.
than a yard. They were
From the end zone,
They were
yeah.
practically so close that every time they breathed, they were getting a touchdown. If whoever
I
was
want to
holding
say
the ball.
I want to say they were first and goal.
Yes, and what had happened was, what happened was the Seahawks went, instead of just picking the ball up and stepping forward, they decided we're going to throw this bad boy to try to trick
4 times. All 4 downs they did it.
all that's right. It was 4 times.
Yes.
At every chance they could, they threw the ball, and eventually it was an interception.
Yep.
But that wasn't a touchdown run for the Patriots, though, right? They didn't.
No.
They didn't run it
It
back.
didn't matter. They were in the lead.
Yeah.
There was only like a minute left.
Yeah, they could have won.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the Seahawks could have won. So let me set the scene. As a Patriots fan at the time, I was sitting there. I was a Patriots fan for most of my life. This whole game was the moment I was like, I don't like the NFL at all. I'm done. I'm walking away.
Yeah, because felt bad.
A Pee-wee football coach. I've seen Pee-wee football coaches make better calls than a whole team of professional
Pete
players.
Carroll got a lot of heat for that.
Go ahead and tell me they're not overpaid clowns.
Yeah, that was really weird. And I mean that one drive is a pretty solid argument that the NFL is rigged.
It is.
But
It is.
there is something to be said though about how good of a quarterback Tom Brady is regardless. Like the plays he can make and the way he can whip a team into shape. And on top of that, you're right. Is the Bucs defense did a lot to help.
I mean,
but on top of that, it wasn't just that. It was that. So if you watch the game, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners didn't, but it's still pop culture. I like football, so I'm going to talk about it.
I mean, pop culture's it's purposely vague.
Patrick Mahomes, or the Chiefs in general, were missing, I believe, 2 or 3 of their main linebackers, which means that Mahomes' pocket collapsed like that every play. On top of him having turf toe, he had no time. He had to throw the ball immediately because he had no pocket. There were a lot of times where he was running away from the defense because his guys couldn't keep them back.
Well, they put the pressure on.
They put a ton of pressure on him.
Honestly,
on guys who weren't used to being in the positions they were in.
But that's the thing. That's what you should do, though. You put the pressure,
Right.
because what you want to do look at me like I'm a football coach. Look at me. I'm already getting back in.
Yeah.
But like the best thing the Buccaneers could have done was play rough and really put the pressure on, because also nobody in a million years would have expected that these were the 2 teams playing in the Super Bowl against each other. So when it happened, I mean, granted,
Kansas City was a shoo-in for
yeah,
the Super
but
Bowl,
up to the point, when before this season started, we were all like, nah.
And even the first half of the season, the Buccaneers were not doing well. Mm-hmm. As Brady learned how they all played and taught them how he plays, and you could see the DNA of the Patriots at their best all throughout this Super Bowl, because you realize this Super Bowl proved, and this whole season proved, that the magic of the Patriots was Brady, not Belichick, which nobody really knew, and I think was a big reason Brady left.
Yeah.
Was because he wanted to prove that it was him.
Well, yeah, because he probably wanted to drop the whole Deflate Gate and all that, because no matter what, I mean, Deflate Gate was how many years ago?
I believe 4, 5 maybe?
4 or 5 years ago, to the point we all should have just let it go, but that still haunted him.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear,
and honestly, as it should, because I mean, obviously Belichick was responsible for a lot of it. The lip reading, the putting wires in locker rooms.
Yeah.
That stuff, how is Brady going to know about it? When it comes to a deflated football, the quarterback should know it immediately.
Yeah, that's true. So,
And even the center should, because the center's the first one who gets his hand on it.
so I did try to give it like, I tried to put my own little tiny experience that I have into it. And I can imagine that so during if I remember correctly, when Deflategate stuff was starting up, I saw him throwing a ball back and forth. Like he was doing his normal warm-ups.
Yeah.
And the ball that he was warming up with was not the ball that they were going to use in game day.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's kind of typical. So there is a chance.
I thought they darn near used a new ball every play.
I don't think they'd use a new ball every play.
No.
No, I don't think so. I think they check them though. Like the ball is checked, but what I believe would have happened is like there was a lot of nerves, a lot of stuff going on, because at the time we were already the rumors were already coming out that there was something fishy with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Because that game they were
I forget what game Deflategate was.
well they were undefeated at that time, right?
That sounds right. That's the Patriots.
And I can truly believe that fear could have been in his head. Plus, so that's distracting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crowd is distracting him.
Well, trying to decide on what plays.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that like. And
there were
that's the
warning
thing,
signs this
they're
season,
not
too.
high. I mean, they're not high school. I mean, they're not high school players, so there is a little bit of like high school. Depending on where you are, like a high school play is usually like the coach gives you three options of play. It's like a Madden game. The coach says, "Look, there's 3 plays you can pick one."
Yeah.
I imagine it's got to be the same, except he has billions of plays that change,
and it's
just like that.
It's well known that Brady, part of what makes him so great is that he's really good at being the sole play caller. Is that he can be out on that field and call the plays without the head coach at all.
Yeah,
he's that good at the game, which is what gives them that. You see it a lot. Is that when the Patriots or now the Bucks are down in the fourth quarter, they just have a way of controlling the ball and moving down the field.
I mean,
that's part of his gift is that he can just get those yards you need. He's not going for big flashy plays. He's trying to get 11 yards. Each play.
Well, I mean, like I said, I didn't watch. I have quit watching or caring about football a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because like the last football I really cared about was college football, and then when I learned what the NCAA is, I was like, well, I can't watch any of these. I'll just watch like local high school football or something like that. But that was my decision. Like, I do kind of regret not watching this Super Bowl because
it was great.
Definitely probably would have been an interesting one.
It was entertaining.
I kept hearing a lot of talk that that Ohio was going to end up there, or
the Browns.
Yeah,
yeah. Who ended up beating them? I don't. You probably wouldn't know.
No,
if
I
don't.
know. I'm trying to remember.
They beat us though, which was pretty embarrassing for the Steelers. But the Steelers, and it's something I've talked about a lot, not on the show, but again, if you don't know anything about football, Ben Roethlisberger is a big dude. He is huge, but he's slow. If you ever see him trying to run a ball, he has no acceleration. He looks like a geriatric trying to run the ball.
Yeah.
He's so slow. But then you look at players, new quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes or Kyler Murray and on the Cardinals. They are so fast. These guys are basically running backs on their own. They can move so quickly, and that's something Mahomes was missing because of his turf toe. But there's a new generation of quarterbacks coming, and it's something that.
Real quick, you keep saying the word turf toe. I'm not really familiar with that.
Basically, stubbed his toe essentially on the turf and impacted his toe.
I say,
so it makes
not
running and
familiar
stuff
with
really difficult
with that term.
I'm not sure exactly what what it involves, but it's painful. And so yeah, it makes running hard. It makes playing hard. So it's impressive that he managed to play through that, but it took a big weapon out of his arsenal.
Yeah. Well, also I just look at I'm assuming now with all the things that carried the Steelers to all the victories to be the team that they were, they're all gone. And I don't know what goes on. Again, I don't know what goes on anymore. But
don't expect to see the Steelers win anytime soon because Ben is a relic of a bygone era. He might play for another season or two. His throwing and his ability to see over the line because he's so big are great, but that's not where football is right now. And so he's a relic of a bygone era. We've lost Le'Veon Bell. We've lost Antonio Brown. Our defense is all right. We've got T.J. Watt. We've got who was it from the Dolphins? Not Fitzpatrick.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
We've got good defense, other than the guys who got injured late in this season. Our running game is just not there.
I think it's just time to not rely so much on the old
guard.
Like the old ways are gone.
Yeah, Steelers need to be faster,
and I think
our offense is just not there.
Especially nowadays, like people in general, like athletes, are becoming a whole new beast when it comes to like what you can see them do now.
Yeah.
Like if you look at numbers of some of the best athletes right now coming out of college, in the top, and look at their numbers compared to what numbers used to be. It's I mean, this is natural that they're going to get better and better, but it's kind of interesting to watch the growth of human evolution at its peak for athletics.
Yeah.
And
you see these guys are 200-300 pounds and they're sprinting like Olympic sprinters.
Yeah.
It's insanity how fast these guys can move.
Yeah.
So that's why it's tough when you've got someone like Ben who is even bigger, but he's much slower.
And look, again, as hard as I've seen Ben get hit in the times that I have watched, the older you get, those hits don't get easier, especially when it's a person who is 300 pounds and can lift 600 pounds.
Yep.
That's their pressure. Look,
which is why Brady's smart. If he knows he's about to get sacked, he gets rid of that ball.
Yeah.
He knows a good hit will end him.
Well, he kind of has to. The only way that he can stay, anyone can stay in football long enough. I mean, there's a whole story about how bad that really is. Like the average of people who go into a professional team and immediately are benched just because they can't handle the hits anymore.
Yep.
In such a short amount of time. Like you make billions of dollars, but boy, does your career get does the ability to enjoy that in the future gets.
But a lot of them don't even make
destroyed.
Billions. They make a couple 100,000.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And if you can't get a steady job doing something else afterward, or you take too many hits and you're someone like an Antonio Brown, who's almost unemployable any other way, you better be saving your money.
Well, I think that's what it is once you get that first paycheck from the NFL, the smart thing to do is not just go blow it. Go invest it in some way to make that.
Well, there's stories of so many guys that financially they're ruined because they're not used to dealing with that much money. And then all of a sudden they have all that money and they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do things for my family that I didn't do before. And they overextend themselves. And then especially the guys that ended up getting injured and out. It's like, oh, here's your last paycheck for, $100,000. There you go. It's like, well, I spent my entire life building this skill in order to do this for a career. And now I'm down to $100,000 and nothing else. It ruins them.
Yeah.
So this is actually wild. I didn't know it was this low. Do you know how long the average NFL career length is?
4 years.
Yep.
3.3. Close.
3.3,
I thought it was higher than that.
No, it's short.
They last 3.3 years. 78% of players go broke within 3 years of retirement.
Yes.
Yep.
And 15.7% file for bankruptcy within 12 years of leaving the league.
Yep.
Because players like Brady or Roethlisberger or going back Brett Favre are going to be fine. They're going to have so many deals throughout the rest of their life, licensing deals and stuff like that.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, he's done a ton of commercials. But you get, Joe Schmo, who's been a linebacker, or even a defender. If you're not someone like an Aaron Donald or one of the Watt brothers, you're not getting anything.
Well,
you're going to be taking hits, and then you're out of there with no safety net. Maybe you land a job as a commentator, maybe a coach. Probably not, though.
There's always this. So partially, I think that why those statistics come out like that, or why that is the end result of them is when you make it to a pro level, there is an ego jump.
Yeah.
Any man or woman that goes through that is gonna feel that ego jump. And the thing is, once you get to a certain high with your ego, you There's no stopping. It's
Yeah.
why we see like YouTubers and stuff now are starting to come out as like most of the ones that we thought were good are coming out to be monsters because they got to a point where the ego was not being in check.
Yep.
And then they thought I'm invincible, and now look what's happening to them. They're all
And it's a similar thing. Is there a lot of them tend to be pretty young. I mean, virtually every single NFL player came straight out of college.
Yeah,
and
I was about
probably
to
as early as
comment on
high
that.
school, they were pegged as someone who will go on to play in the NFL.
Well, and that's a huge thing. Is like you have people that go from high school to college to the NFL, and they've never really been in the real market.
Yep.
And if there are investors that know that, hey, these guys don't know what they're doing with their money. I can take a huge commission and just be like, hey guys, like, you do what you want with your money. This is how much you got every month, and just spend it to the end. They really don't care about them. They just care about the fact that they can make money off of it. And like, it's very difficult. It's short-sighted because it's a revolving door. It's a 3.3 years. I have to deal with you for 3 years, then I never have to talk to you again.
Yep.
So there's no building of a portfolio.
They encourage them with this idea that you're going to come into the NFL and be the next Tom Brady or the next big running back. The average person, they might be able to name the quarterback for each team and one or two of each of the running back, receivers, and defenders.
Wow, I'm not an average person then.
Like, I'm
The average
averaging it out.
NFL football player.
I'm averaging it with like football super fans versus non-fans.
the NFL
averaged out, that's about all the players you could name. That still leaves a lot of players on the table. Keep in mind, there's 1,700 people playing in the NFL.
So look,
At a
real
time-
quick,
at a given
I want to
time.
wrap this because
Yeah,
we've
we've
talked about the NFL for a long time. We've got a long list.
We do.
And I realize listening
Suffice to say, congratulations to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for their Super Bowl win. I'm excited to see what they do next season.
Yeah, and congratulations
Even
to
as
Tom
a
Brady
Steelers
for having
fan.
more Super Bowl rings than any franchise.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah, he's got 7 compared to, I believe, the Patriots and Steelers 6.
Yep.
Which is just so impressive. I don't care what anyone says, especially Pittsburghers. Tom Brady's the best quarterback that's ever lived.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
So what was the next thing you want to talk about, Ryan?
Me? There's a lot. Let me go
There is
back.
a lot. Do we want to lead with the thing we can all talk about, or do we want to start on some of the stuff that only one or two of us can talk
Depends. What is one of the things we can all talk about?
about? WandaVision.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, then let's start
Okay.
on WandaVision.
Because
What'd
I
you guys think?
got some questions. Or I
was hoping you'd have the answers.
no, never mind. I don't have questions. I've got. I
I've
guess I
been
have
really enjoying
questions
this
with.
series.
I have questions with. I think I have the answers as well for those
Okay.
questions. But
You know what was cool? I'll start off.
go ahead.
Is seeing the girl from Thor. That was
Oh
unexpected.
yeah.
What's her name in universe?
Oh, I don't know.
I always
I
forget
don't
too.
know it either.
But it was cool.
I know
I
her
didn't
face.
expect that.
Yeah, I liked her character too. It was one of those ones where it's like, listen, I'm smart. I get it. You're probably not going to listen to me. I'm
Yeah.
used to it. And like she just plays a really good character of someone that's dealt with that for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's like it fits. It doesn't come across as like, oh, I'm cocky because I know more. It's one of those like, hey, look, I'm probably right. Just please listen.
Yeah.
I just like it because it makes me feel. Look, remember I said I was like, I don't know if I'm into the Marvel
Yeah,
stuff
actually,
anymore.
you're right.
I have. Well, after last episode, completely 180. I am like,
Okay.
I grabbed right
Let's
onto
avoid
the
that
bus.
for a minute. Let's talk about
Yeah,
anything
you're
else we
right,
want to
you're
talk about.
But,
obviously, spoilers. If
but-
you haven't, you should go watch it.
About the fact that they're bringing her back, what makes me happy about that is it's more of that love for even the bad films of like
Yeah.
the films that were not the
So,
favorites.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time we saw her was Thor 2, right?
I think just briefly.
I thought
Yeah.
it was
Or two.
3 in the Dark World because I thought, oh no, I'm sorry,
Dark
2
World.
is
That's
Dark
the
World.
2.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry, I got them mixed up.
We wouldn't have seen her anywhere else.
I remember seeing her. I thought I saw her in like a coffee. I don't remember. See, I've watched so many of them so many times. They all blend
The
together.
coffee shop scene is from Thor 1,
Is that from Thor 1? See,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
they all.
where he throws down the coffee cup.
Another,
Yeah.
that's from the first one when he was in the small
Yeah,
town.
see, they all just blend together now.
I'm trying to think, though. I thought she had a cameo in something else.
That's what I'm thinking of. I know there was a cameo or something.
It's probably like an after credit scene or something
Maybe.
small where it might have been in Infinity War, the first of
Maybe.
the two final, not Endgame, but
Yeah, maybe.
I'm getting a headache going through like.
But anyway,
all of my.
What else, you
brain
guys?
cells.
So you're on the WandaVision
You know that scene
train
from
now.
SpongeBob when like his brain is going through like the filing cabinets,
Yeah.
trying to burn everything?
Everything's
That's what
catching on
all my
fire.
brain cells are doing right now. I'm trying to think of Marvel.
It was
stuff.
cool with the reveal, I believe, in episode 3 that this is going on in the real world.
Yes.
And that there's people outside of it with I forget her first name, but Rambo, not spelled Rambo,
Yeah.
Rambeau, Aeu.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica, yeah. Was she? Did she exist before this? Mm-hmm. I figured.
Yep, she's always existed.
But this is the first we've heard of Sword, right? This
No.
show.
Technically, no. I mean, we have heard of Sword before, but they
Have
were
we?
like, they were like an alternate version of the So you know how like they're now Shield technically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, Sword always existed. I think the only difference was it was in the opposite order. Or see again, this is I have so much stupid
The only place that I feel
comic
like
book
they probably,
knowledge, but Sword.
but
is,
in the
Sword
comics, you
exists.
mean they?
Yeah, they.
I mean, in the
Swords
Marvel Cinematic
No,
Universe.
no.
This is the first we've seen it.
Yeah, that's the first.
Unless they came up in Agents of Shield, which
It may have been. I don't know. I didn't
No.
watch any of the Agents of Shield.
No,
I watched the first
because
season.
Sword. They say it in WandaVision. Like Sword is the answer to the loss of Shield,
Okay.
which Shield's technically not gone. Shield's in. They're just now in space. Shield's
just now in
Nick
space.
Fury and all that. Yeah.
Which
What else?
If you don't know this, I didn't know this till I just watched a video recently that was going over it. There's a scene in the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home when you see Nick Fury, in space.
Yeah.
When he's walking away on one of the monitors, you see the hexagon shape of what Wanda's going on. So while so Shield's watching it's not
Interesting.
confirmed, but it's so perfect it almost looks like Shield knows what's going on there too.
Interesting, because that is a plot point in the show is that it's a perfect hexagon around this place,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which is why they call it the Hex, which I thought was going to be the mention of Scarlet Witch's powers, but
Yeah. Why did they say that she doesn't have another?
she
alias?
doesn't have. They never gave Scarlet Witch has never been given to her.
I think it has to do something with the copyright law where they're not actually allowed to use it. And so I think it's
but that
poking
gets into
fun
what
at
we're going
that.
to talk about the end of
No,
episode
that's-
5, the most recent one.
No, so it's more connected to the fact that they don't have X-Men. It's not.
All right, okay. Elephant in the room. We got to talk about it.
No, not
We
yet.
keep
Hang
coming
on.
back to it.
We'll get to
Yep.
it. No, I'm saying it's the reason that that she's never been given that code name is because she hasn't really been a part of the Avengers for long enough to get the code name. They just kind of brought her in as like a trainee.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool was the trainee, and all you got was a trainee thing. And the fact that Scarlet Witch is technically her villain name. Like that's what this. So if you want me to give you like my
that
theory
makes
how
sense.
this is going to end, why Wanda was cast in Doctor Strange, the Multiverses of Madness, is Wanda is the villain. She's not the super.
I mean, that definitely
She's
feels
going
like-
to be a villain, but not. So okay, well let's get to the thing.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
So to set the stage, Vision is starting to realize that
Yes.
everything's not on the up and up.
Well, the thing I really
And he doesn't
enjoyed.
know why because he
Yeah.
doesn't remember.
Well, the
anything
thing
before.
the thing that I enjoy about that is that it shows that even though Vision is dead, he's not completely dead.
Yeah.
And like it, because at first I was like as soon as they were like, oh, he got his body, I was like, oh, okay, like I figured something along those lines happened, and I was like, so she's keeping him alive,
Yeah.
and now he's starting to pick up on what's going on.
And what I'm excited to see is how when they find the dog dead, and she tells them that some things can't be changed. Wonder how that's going to pay off, because what she's telling them she can't do, she already did for Vision. And you can see her realizing that
Something went wrong.
she's already being a hypocrite by saying it.
So, all right.
All right,
Let's go,
Boy,
Ryan.
I have so much to say.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. First of all, my boys in this show. Quicksilver's in the show.
Yep.
But it's my Well, nah. I mean, yeah, it's my Quicksilver's in the show. The moment I saw
That reveal, I literally like leaned back in my chair, like hands on my mouth, like, oh my God.
you have to ask Robin. I actually put my arms up and screamed, "It's him! It's Quicksilver!" Because when it showed the back of his head, I was like, "It's him! I see that black and silver hair."
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
The reveal. So did
moment
you
I
understand that reveal?
Yes, because
Okay.
he's part of the Days of Future Past.
the X-Men.
Yup.
the
X-Men.
X-Men.
He's that.
So they're
Quicksilver.
starting
So-
to pull them into the universe.
So It's funny. The only thing that played in my head when I saw him walking in, like when they showed his face, all I could hear is "Sweet Dreams" just playing in my head.
Not Time in a Bottle.
No, because my favorite version of him like using his speed powers is when he's going through the mansion and they just play that song as he's just like saving the
throwing
individual
people out.
X-Men.
That was such a good scene.
Well, Time in the Bottle was the first one. I think that's why that's a little more memorable. But yeah, the one with the I do like the one with the mansion where he's just like throwing people out windows.
Yeah.
But here's what I think. I do have so I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but I don't think that's who we think it is.
I'm sure it's not.
But so here, look, there's three branching theories I've got in my brain.
Okay.
Let's start with the one.
Okay.
The dog dies, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And every time something happens that the normal population of this town are not supposed to see, that woman's there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's the villain.
That wouldn't surprise me. She seems to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As she keeps saying, like, you can't bring anybody back to life. I don't think Wanda knows that she did it. I don't think Wanda is in control.
Yeah.
As like when Pedro shows up at the door and like obviously Vision thinks like, oh, well, why you're always trying to avoid the conversation.
Yeah.
She looks just as surprised. I don't think that's an act.
Yeah.
So I think that she's the villain. I think she killed that dog to try to push the boys because she's trying to turn their children into weapons for her.
Yeah.
Because I think that I don't know who she is. I have ideas, but I don't have enough information. So let's just throw that. I think she's the villain.
Okay.
I think that Vision is not the Vision is not our Vision. So
Even though there was the scene where she turned around and he had the part of his head missing.
So let me explain. So Wanda is probably one of the most powerful mutants in the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
Now the MCU definitely one of the most powerful characters. She's not a mutant, but the fact that Pedro's there, I don't think if that's actually Pedro from
Pietro.
Well, if
You keep saying Pedro.
Oh, Pietro. If that's him, if that's Quicksilver, if that's my Quicksilver, he doesn't know what's going on. He's under the spell.
He definitely doesn't sound like he got that like.
Yeah, he's got that playing the act thing.
Like he has. I think he's under a spell. I think that's.
Like they all are.
But I think he's under the spell. But I don't think that is our Vision completely, because what I think happened is she took the body and like she pulled Piedra out of an alternate universe. She pulled an alternate universe version of Vision. And what is happening is the body is the dead, broken body, but this is a different Vision that she created. That's why he still has the Mind Stone, even though the Mind Stone is supposed to be gone and destroyed. And he can still use it because every time he uses a power, the Mind Stone glows, and you get the yellow glow from when he uses his powers. Yeah. So what I think is going on here, this is what I think, is I think that this is obviously how we're going to get X-Men in the MCU. I think that whatever is going on in the X-Men universe is causing that woman, whoever that girl is, to try to bring to try to take over this, because we're also getting a Secret Invasion show, which is the Skrull.
Excuse me? Why is your phone talking?
Oh, it just...
His Google Assistant decided to just say because.
That's exactly why it's happening, is just because don't ask any questions.
Okay. But, I'll allow it.
Yeah, so I think what's happening is Wanda is going to pull all of the X-Men in, which is cool because I think we're going to get all the X-Men I like. All of the actors I like. Because look, the original X-Men with like the original Hugh Jackman.
All the old people.
Yeah, didn't like any of them. I did. Well,
Hugh Jackman was good.
I liked Hugh Jackman.
Patrick Stewart.
It was good he had that animanium to carry out the rest of that series.
Cyclops was incredibly forgettable.
Oh, Cyclops was
I
terrible.
forgot that he
Cyclops used to be
died.
one of my. It was my favorite character growing up.
Yeah.
And then I watched him like be played in the live action, and I was just like, what's
He's so
going on?
generic.
I mean,
Yeah.
for you guys, as you can see down there, I have like a Dark Phoenix,
Yeah.
like hot toyish thing with a glass. That's a custom glass thing I had made.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But that's because I liked the Dark Phoenix film. Like
Yeah.
the more and more I thought about it, I
Oh,
like it.
I'm
But
sorry.
I like all of the X-Men characters. 'Cause
Yeah, they're
I like
cool.
also I like all of every actor, every actress. I like them all. I want
Yeah.
those X-Men beating up Captain America. And yes, I mean old man Captain America. That's funny.
That's
Can you
priceless.
imagine all these teenagers?
Oh, we got to talk about that too,
it's like
didn't
that
we?
SpongeBob. I have a lot of SpongeBob stuff.
I
The
actually have a
trailer.
theory whenever you guys are done that I would like to
go ahead,
to
go
run
for
through.
it. I didn't really give a theory. I'm an idiot.
I personally really enjoyed the WandaVision thing because right from the beginning they made it very clear that it's not reality and that Wanda knew what was going on, which I thought was cool. But I think in this one, I think she was being completely honest at the end when she's like, I didn't create this. I'm not controlling all of it, but I can do something about it.
That's what I think. I think that she has some control and she knows it, but she doesn't.
Well, it's pretty
I don't-
telling that she was able to leave.
I don't think
throw them
she-
their drone
I
back.
don't think she created it. Is what I don't think she created it all on her own.
Yeah, I think she discovered it, and then when she realized in this world she could make whatever she wanted, she went and
took
got Vision
over.
because she's already lost so much.
I don't even
and
know if
now
that's
I
the
think
case.
it's
I-
spiraled out. But I think
Well, yeah, I guess the question becomes, did she start it or did she get dragged into it?
I think dragged. I
Or
think
did she start it and then get co-opted? Or
I-
did she stumble onto something and then get dragged into it?
I really hope that, and this would be for me, I think would be a really cool arc for Wanda because she's lost everything throughout like her story.
Yeah.
I would love to see at the end, and I think this is why you guys brought up Old Cap. I would love to see at the end where Old Cap walks in and sits down with her and goes, "Hey, look, everybody I knew is gone, and not only
Yeah.
once but twice. Now they're gone again. Like you have to move on." I think she'll come back because I want it to be one of those things where she found a way where she could be happy, and then it just morphed into the only way I could keep this up is to control, and then she's gonna have to let it go. But then you're also gonna realize, like Ryan said, I did notice too that like that character isn't just there for fun. Like she's purposefully around during events that are happening.
Yeah.
Because I think that there is a purpose behind that.
And she knows what's going on because she asks to retake a line.
I am still.
I think that was her first mix up, and I think that was supposed to be your first indicator that like, oh hey,
Yeah,
she's using Wanda and hoping
And also,
that Wanda knows
considering
what's
Do
going
you
on.
no
totally
one
buy the
else.
fact that she found the dog dead?
Yeah.
I know
Do you-
she did.
Or
I know she. There's no way that.
that was too convenient.
Yeah, that's it's all because she's pulling the strings for her. What? But also, she's the only person that when she breaks character, doesn't like get freaked out or anything
Yeah.
like that. I mean, you could argue the first time we saw her truly break character, when it was her and that other guy that was like cutting through the cinder block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still, again, I think it's all an act.
Yeah.
I think how this is going to end, and where Doctor Strange is going to get involved, and she's going to Wanda's going to realize what the problem is and try to save it, but in turn, cause some kind of like spacey wacy stuff happen, and it's going to like
Yeah.
collapse. Like, because they keep saying they're going to call somebody in. Now they might just call somebody like another character for the future.
Yeah.
And like Ironheart or something like that. Or what they're doing is they think we need to call an expert on it, and how the show's going to end is just Doctor Strange shows up.
That makes sense, and that aligns with several theories I've heard that this show will lead into Doctor Strange 2. But we are cruising. We're already 45 minutes in. We should. It wasn't on our list. Did you guys both watch the trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I did.
Looks pretty
I'm
interesting.
so
I
pumped
haven't
for that
seen it.
now.
My issue with it is it looks kind of just generic action. So I'm curious what the story's going to be about, and how it'll tie into this show, into WandaVision, if at all.
That's the only like next phase. Like what would it be? Phase 4.
I think we're in phase 4 now, right?
I was gonna say
Ryan?
outside of
Yeah, I think so.
outside of Spider-Man, that's the only one that I felt that they built up well enough
Yeah.
to where both of them are capable of being the new Cap, but now they have to figure out which one's going to be it.
Yeah.
And they also have to deal with the fact that, neither one of them can really live up to, well, it's both of them can live up to it, but it's the idea at the moment that neither one of them can live up to him, and they're going to have to decide who gets it. And that was the only one that they built up side characters enough, because the Natalie Portman being female Thor, they never built her up in the MCU to take that place. Like, she's in the first movie, and then she's like barely in the second, not even in the third, and they never built her up to be someone of a hero.
Like, this happens in the comics too.
Yes, I know.
Jane does become Thor in the comics.
Yes, but the problem is that they didn't build it up.
And keep in mind that I forget if it's in Thor 2 or 3, but the reason she didn't appear much is because Natalie Portman was pregnant, so they couldn't do much with her.
But
also,
it's like Ant-Man and...
real quick, I just want to make it like, I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of it, but I guess if there was leaked set photos of Thor Thor 4.
Yeah.
Thor 4?
Yeah, and it showed that Star-Lord's going to be in it, and he has a new costume, but Thor is also back to being buff, but has his long hair and beard.
That's cool.
So that's just important.
Oh, speaking of set photos, did you hear who was seen on the set of Spider-Man 3?
I can't imagine.
Tobey Maguire.
Willem Dafoe.
Come on.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's Sinister Six. It's going to be Spider-Man 3,
so
the
awesome.
Sinister Six.
That's amazing.
Without a doubt.
You know what would be really cool, though? Is if
Ryan's so upset.
If it's Willem Dafoe,
if I see the word...
I think that almost confirms the multiverse, because he's going to come back as the Green Goblin from the other universe.
It already is confirmed, because what's his name is going to be Doc Ock already.
Oh, the guy who played Doc Ock before?
Yeah.
That's
and,
awesome.
What if it's all a ruse?
What if it's
and
all a
Jamie
ruse?
Foxx.
They're all just going to have mini bit parts.
That'd be funny if they just invited all these guys to the set to see how it's going.
That'd be
because
awesome.
they were all former Spider-Man actors.
Dude,
and it's really just Spider-Man sits in Tony Stark's lab and works on a new spider suit for an hour and a half.
If we go to see Spider-Man 3 in theaters, and in the opening credits I see producer Avi Arad, I'm getting up. I'm leaving.
I don't blame him.
This is gonna be bad. This is gonna be
I feel like you're trying to segue right now.
No, we don't have to talk about him.
What else do we have on our list? Oh, I was gonna skip this one, but I feel like I have to mention it. Steven, I watched Resident Alien. It was a hoot. I really liked it. I think you guys would too.
I didn't get.
Do you know the premise?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch
the premise of the show. Alan Tudyk is playing an alien that crash landed on Earth and took over the look of a doctor. And he has to learn how to become how to mingle among humans. So it's pretty entertaining.
Doctor.
While being a doctor.
That's funny.
Who doesn't know anything about being a doctor?
So it's kind of like Octodad.
A little bit, except he wants to kill all humans.
Octodad.
That's so weird.
And so he doesn't like humans, but he has to learn to get along with them until he finds the remains of his ship that crashed. And so it's really entertaining. And if you've watched anything Alan Tudyk's been in, which I find it would be impossible that you haven't seen him in something, because he was King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph. He was K2SO in Rogue One. He was
one of his earliest roles from when I was a kid was the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland.
iRobot. Yeah, he's Sonny in iRobot.
He plays that really cool
Superboat in The
villain.
Tick.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, by the way, highly recommend it. The Tick on Amazon Prime.
Really, I highly recommend that you go watch Sonic to be ready for Sonic 2.
Yeah,
it's coming.
There's a trailer. The visuals in it are incredible. State of the art CGI.
To be completely honest with you. Because we talked about this before.
We need to go through the frame by frame.
There's got to be a lot there. Okay, I'm going to break down this trailer for you guys. You ready? This might take a while. We see Sonic the Hedgehog in the same style that the original movie's title was in. And then a 2 comes next to it. And out of the 2 comes Tails' Tales. And then it says coming April 22nd, 2022?
April 8th.
April 8th.
April 8th. Mm-hmm. April 8th, 2022. So there's a lot to unpack there. Do you know? Except it's all stuff that we already knew.
Do you know what the official Sonic the Hedgehog movie Twitter posted when they announced this? So in the Twitter, in the thread, how they titled this was groundbreaking, thought-provoking, extremely obvious, presenting the official title of the Sonic movie 2.
It's Sonic 2.
You know, it sounds weird, but this may be something that maybe I'm too creative. But it'd be really cool to go frame by frame and see if there is one frame in there that is a subliminal message
There's
because
not,
it's
I already
Sonic.
tried. I already thought
Like
about
that would
it.
be really
But there's
cool.
like there literally is nothing we don't know already in there because the mid-credit scene of Sonic is Tails showing
Yeah.
up. So
I don't remember. Do we see Tails?
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually
he does.
see-
You
He
see
shows
him,
up.
and then you see him flying off toward the city,
Okay.
Well, and I think to be honest with you,
and he even says something too. I think
We should watch that movie again. That
it was good. It was fun.
I love that movie.
It really is one of
It
the
is so
few
good.
decent video
So-
game movies we've got.
So to come back to it, I'm actually the more I'm thinking about it, I feel like I'm really glad that they changed their original setup. And I know that like we were kind of like, wow, the internet bullied this company into like changing their whole setup. But if you think about it, they did well enough to be able to make a second movie.
Yeah.
Like they listened to what people wanted, they changed it, and it wasn't something where it was like, oh, you guys don't even know what's going on yet. They like looked at it and said, no, like this actually looks bad. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, if that's not what you want, we'll change it. Like it's still the same story. It doesn't look like they changed any of the story. They just changed something that was reasonable.
Yeah.
And now they have a second one coming out. And I think that's awesome that people actually went out and watched that.
Yeah, it's certainly no Assassin's Creed or Prince of Persia, which were very, very forgettable movies.
Oh man. I'll be honest with you, I watched
There's a
Assassin's
Prince of
Creed
Persia
with my
there?
girlfriend.
Yeah, with Jake Gyllenhaal. Released in like 2006 or 2007.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was bad.
Oh, that's right. That's where it was the Sands of Time, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was
Yeah,
Prince
they
of
went to the
Persia
Sands of
Sands of
Times
Time.
one.
Because that was the video game it came out
Yep.
with.
Can I tell you what bugged me the most about Assassin's Creed?
Oh, boy.
Is there's one shot where it shows him on the mechanical arm thing.
Yep.
the animus?
Where he jumps, yeah. She didn't want to sound too nerdy by saying it. Where he like jumps and goes to roll, but as he starts rolling, it cuts to what he's seeing and him tucking and rolling. How did he do that with the arm there?
That's the thing that I hated about what they did with the Animus.
I know
It was
makes
so bad.
no sense with how he moves.
Well, I like that's the thing. I thought the animus was something you lay in. And
It was.
go to-
Yeah.
and then it was a headset.
But that's not interesting enough or
Well, yeah.
dynamic enough.
Well, yeah, and that was the
yeah,
thing
because
that
that's
like,
what people played for.
Yeah,
They played
exactly.
Assassin's Creed so they could experience the reality.
But what you're saying right now is the crux of the issue with making video game movies, is that at the end of the day, we play video games to experience these things and to be that character.
Yep.
Whereas movies are very passive. Is you're watching
You're
a
watching it
character's
happen.
story. So it works for something like Star Wars or something like that, where I'm not Luke Skywalker. I'm watching his story. But when you're playing Assassin's Creed, you are that character of whichever one you're playing.
whoever it is, yeah.
You're experiencing their story
Someone say
through
that to
them.
Jared Leto playing the Joker in his original time. Now this time he's a
Right,
Texas
segueing again.
Chainsaw, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Joker.
To be honest with you, I think the big issue that they have with adaptations of video games is they just completely bastardize the story.
Yeah.
Like they did with
it's-
the Joker.
Yeah, it's not the
Joker.
story anymore. Because like, if you watch the original Assassin's Creed was actually a really well built story where it's like, hey, look, there's like it was like this idea that religions and like religious experiences were actually real in a certain context of there were ancient people that had ancient technology, and the way that we explained it was through
Do you
these events.
Wonder how I ruined that game for me?
Boy.
I ruined Assassin's Creed because at the same time I had on CD Pirates of the Caribbean, The Dead Man's Chest on album, and I put it in my Xbox and like burned it to my Xbox, and I played the game with that soundtrack. So I never played the game. I don't know what the story.
You don't play it without it?
I didn't pay attention to this. I didn't
Also,
know what I
it's-
was doing. I was just like running across the field on my horse.
Yeah.
While like the dun 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 dun.
That's funny.
You know.
But that was the thing that like they killed about the Assassin's Creed movie was that it was the original story was fine. It was actually really cool. It was they're ancient societies that are looking for these powerful objects. And like they kept that, but then they absolutely destroyed the entire thing. Was that this person is important because he has lineage that actually connects to someone who had once interacted with it. And then like that set off a chain that like his family was going to be capable of doing that from now on. Like everyone in his all of their descendants would be capable of doing something about it.
Yeah, and then you go farther into the story where it's just random people now.
Yeah, it's just random people, and that was the thing that sucked. Is like it's like you still want to have like quote unquote Desmond, but it's not Desmond's story anymore. It's a completely different
Yeah,
story.
they killed
It, like,
him off in the third game. They killed him off in the third one, and then they realized they made a mistake, so they were
Oh,
like,
yeah. They're
now
trying
it's
to
just
salvage it.
anyone. That's why, because isn't it like in first person mode now?
Well,
I think
that's how
when you're
it
not
is.
Animus. You're in
that's how the
first-
game has gone off the rails now.
I
too.
remember
So-
the one they did a meta thing with it. Ubisoft did a meta thing about how crappy game studios are, because one of the games, I think it's the pirate one, you start up first person mode and you walk through the sand like a basic like liberal company or whatever you want to call them.
basic liberal company.
And you're like walking through, and it looks like it's a game developer studio. And it was all like a commentary on how crappy game studios really are,
Yeah.
because of how like no one really helps each other, and they're like, and then meanwhile, like a year later, Ubisoft gets canned for doing the same practices they were
Yeah.
making fun of in their game.
Dude, well, and to be honest with you, that game was really good because they built up this idea that, hey, like we kind of got away from it, but we're gonna bring it back. Wait for the next one. Like we needed this like filler, and then the very next game I think was Unity. I stopped playing after Unity because Unity is like, hey, listen, it's really important. You need to help us, and then like you get to the end and it's like, oh yeah, none of that mattered. Have fun. And I was like, what on earth did you have me do with this? Like I literally gave you $60.
But that romance, though.
Oh yeah, that
What's her-
forced
So,
romance.
Oh, my God, I was
we're running
so
low.
in.
We're running high on time,
was-
but since we're talking about video game stuff, I felt like I should mention. I don't know if you guys know they're making a Halo TV series.
I thought they were making a movie. What happened to that?
It's premiering on Showtime in early
There's
2021.
already
apparently,
there's already a perfect series called
Wait.
Red versus Blue.
you know you want to know who's playing Master Chief? Pablo Schreiber, half brother to Liev Schreiber, who you might know from The Wire, American Gods, or Orange Is the New Black. I don't, but you might.
I don't.
I was gonna say like
also,
I hate it when he does that. He
yeah.
gave me that look like you should know who this is. I'm like,
another person you've never heard of, Natasha McElhone.
Natasha McKilloon.
Sure. From
I just
Truman
made that
Show.
up. I have no idea. I know who it is though.
I'll be honest with
you?
you.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
If
She's
you've ever
Catherine
watched-
Hosley.
If you've ever watched, really,
Yeah, she should be Catherine Halsey.
I'm more
And
hopeful.
Jen Taylor is reprising her role to be Cortana's voice.
my favorite character she's ever played was the ex-wife of the main character in Californication. If you ever watch the show, if you want to know a show that I love so much, even though I try to tell people I don't, it's David Duchovny in it. Or Duchovny? David Duchovny? Or
Duchovny.
Duchovny?
Yeah.
Duchovny. He plays a writer in Hollywood who can't write. He can't think of another book, but he's like super successful. And like the whole show is about this man going on like a self-destructive like pathway of his life, trying to make like amends with his, like have a good relationship with his daughter, and also try to get his wife back, which is actually that girl. It's like shenanigans. It's like a real serious, like it's funny. It's like one of those things where it takes serious things that happen to this guy's life and make it comical to make you laugh at it. Like the first thing it starts out, his wife is dating another guy who's like super rich, or his ex-wife is dating another guy who's like a super rich dude in California.
It started production in October 2019 and is still in production.
I don't believe that. But David Duchovny's character like meets a woman at a bookstore because he was just there reading his book. So he walked over, like do his thing as a guy he would. He's like trying to like get with this one because the whole show he has relations with so many girls and it's ridiculous. But that turns out to be the daughter of the guy his ex-wife is dating.
Oh,
So,
Steven Spielberg.
It's just like,
Steven Spielberg is one of the executive producers of this show.
oh really?
Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to talk about? Because we are at about an hour.
I was gonna say, do we have time to?
Jared Leto's Joker makes me angry.
And that's all we have to say about that.
The new
Yeah,
photos
I
make
don't
me
think
angry.
there's any more
Not
analysis
angry at
we
Jared
need.
Leto's Joker. I think it's going to be great. I'm angry because we're all going to walk away from this saying Zack Snyder did a good job on his film when he had the ability of hindsight. He know everything that was wrong. I posted on Twitter like the link, because I got it. It just happened to show up on Instagram for me, and I shared it to Twitter. And all I put in was hindsight, everyone. And
So
that was what.
So first we learned it from Cats, and now we're learning it from Justice League. Is that we're entering the movie where movies get patches.
That's what it is.
The era where movies get patches.
And that's the thing. You cannot tell me that this is what the original plan is. If he was just like, yeah, I have all the footage, and then a week later he's like, I'm going to go back and film some stuff. Don't worry. This was already planned. Don't you worry.
Well, keep in mind the circumstances around Justice League.
I understand, but nah.
It doesn't matter, though. Can't. Like, I think it does matter.
It does. It so does. It matters such.
Yeah, he didn't get to make the movie. Joss Whedon did.
But he wrote it. He already had a lot of it made.
Yeah, and Joss Whedon went and reshot a lot of it.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is this dude's going to go out like this Snyder cut. He's going out to make the film, and he's doing everything he can to make it look better because he already knew it. We hated. Literally, if you look at the trailers, you can look at. I love this. I can go off a list.
Should be so angry when this movie's good.
Which
it already is. Like
that is good. That's what I said. I was like, I love this movie.
I'll be honest with you. I do agree with Ryan on this one. Like I think I mentioned last week. Like I watched the Star Wars prequels with my girlfriend like 2 weeks ago, and seeing the extra scenes changed the movie.
It just sets a bad precedent. That's what it does.
And I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's great that it's a better movie, but at the same time, it's like it's not the original thing that was put out.
Look, man, I played Cyberpunk. I don't want to go to the theater to download 16 gigs of the first patch just so I could watch the first 5 seconds of the film. What, Matt?
Where can they find you?
Red Steak Ryan.
Where?
Instagram, Twitter. Probably in my grave after I see this film.
That's Ryan's last act. Zach.
You can find me at _Leaf LIEF.
Dude, he doesn't have the tattoos. They took the tattoos away. They took
you can
damaged
find me
tattoo.
And,
we're never going to see the
Matt Ross
thing
VO.
over and over again.
Matt Ross VO on Twitter. Jan Jinkle on Twitch occasionally. Almost never.
I will be more active on Twitter.
He did take the tattoo away, so that means that I now am the only person that has this ha-ha down my arm.
Thanks, guys, for listening. It's been fun. Ryan's upset, and
I'm not upset.
It's okay.
I am.
He's allowed to be.
You can't say you're not upset.
I'm not. I just feel like
you're not angry. You're just disappointed.
It's righteous indignation.
All right.
It's one of those things like this is the director's cut, except in the director's cut they didn't shoot the whole film over again.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I love you.
Have fun.